The room was silent save for the faint creak of the old mansion's floorboards as Lena Carter stood trembling before the mahogany casket. In her hands she clutched a single yellowed envelope, its wax seal broken, revealing a handwritten note that would unravel her quiet life forever. The millionaire's final wish, scrawled in shaky ink, demanded she, a maid with no education beyond scrubbing floors, inherit his sprawling estate and fulfill a mission no one believed she could handle. Gasps rippled through the gathered lawyers and family members, their eyes narrowing with disbelief and disdain. How could this unassuming woman clad in a lace-trimmed uniform hold the key to a fortune and a secret that could shake the foundations of a powerful legacy? As the weight of their stares bore down, Lena's heart pounded, a storm of doubt and determination brewing within her. Little did they know she was about to rewrite her destiny. Lena had always been a shadow in the opulent halls of the Grayson Manor, her dark hands moving tirelessly over polished silver and dusty chandeliers. At 38 her life had been a series of quiet sacrifices, raising two younger siblings after their parents' untimely death, scraping by on meager wages and burying her dreams beneath the weight of necessity. The Grayson family, with their tailored suits and cold smiles, had never seen her as more than a servant, a fixture as unremarkable as the antique vases she dusted. Old Mr. Grayson, the patriarch, had been different, kind, with a twinkle in his eye that hinted at stories untold. Over the years he'd shared snippets with her, tales of his youth, his regrets, and a cryptic mention of a debt he owed to someone long forgotten. Lena had listened politely, never imagining those conversations would one day thrust her into the spotlight of his will. The reading of the will had been a circus. The Grayson heirs, two sons Victor and James and their icy mother Margaret, had expected to divide the multi-million-dollar estate among themselves. Victor, a broad-shouldered man in an orange vest that screamed arrogance, leaned against the wall with a smirk, while James, thinner and more calculating, whispered furiously to their mother. Margaret's lips pursed as the lawyer, a wiry man with a nasal voice, cleared his throat and read the shocking clause. Lena Carter was to inherit the manor and a trust fund contingent on her completing a task Mr. Grayson had left sealed in that envelope. The room erupted. Victor's fist slammed the table, his voice booming. "This is preposterous. She's a maid, not a Grayson." Margaret's glare could have curdled milk, but it was the lawyer's quiet words that cut deepest. "The will is ironclad. Fail the task and the estate reverts to charity." Lena's knees weakened, the envelope trembling in her grip. She had no idea what the task entailed, but the hostility in the room told her she was already a failure in their eyes. That night, alone in the servants' quarters, Lena opened the envelope with shaking hands. The note was brief but heavy with meaning. "Find the soldier I betrayed and bring him peace. His name is Thomas Reed. Start at the old oak on the East Hill." The words hit her like a punch. She knew the oak, a gnarled giant she'd passed countless times, its branches whispering secrets in the wind. But a soldier betrayal. Mr. Grayson had never spoken of war, only of business triumphs and family pride. Doubt gnawed at her. She was no detective, no warrior, just a maid with calloused hands and a heart full of fear. Yet as she traced the faded ink, a flicker of resolve ignited. This was her chance to rise, to prove she was more than they believed. The next morning, under a gray sky that mirrored her unease, Lena ventured to the East Hill. The oak loomed ahead, its roots sprawling like the veins of an ancient heart. She circled it, her fingers brushing the rough bark, until she found a hollowed-out section. Inside was a rusted metal box, its lid creaking open to reveal a dog tag engraved with Thomas Reed 1968, and a faded photograph of a young man in uniform smiling beside a man who could only be a younger Mr. Grayson. Her breath caught. The betrayal began to take shape. A wartime promise broken, a friend left behind, but where was Thomas now? The photo offered no clues, and the weight of the task pressed harder. Returning to the manor, she faced the sneers of the Grayson family, who had already begun plotting to undermine her. Victor taunted, "You'll be back to scrubbing toilets by week's end," while Margaret hired a private investigator to dig into Lena's past, hoping to discredit her. Days turned to weeks, and Lena's search grew desperate. She scoured old newspapers in the manor's library, her eyes straining over yellowed pages, until she found a brief mention. Thomas Reed, a decorated veteran, had vanished after a dishonorable discharge in 1970, rumored to be living as a recluse in the Appalachians. The trail was cold, but Lena's determination burned hotter. She sold her few possessions, a locket from her mother, a worn Bible, to fund a trip, ignoring the whispers that she was chasing a fool's errand. The journey was grueling. Cramped buses, muddy trails, and nights under a sky that offered no comfort. Each step tested her resolve, her body aching, her mind replaying the Grayson family's disdain. Yet in the quiet of those nights she felt Mr. Grayson's presence, his voice urging her onward. In the rugged hills of Appalachia, Lena finally found him. Thomas Reed was a shadow of the man in the photograph, gray-haired, gaunt, living in a shack with walls lined with newspaper clippings about a court-martial that had stripped him of honor. His eyes, once bright, were hollow with pain when Lena showed him the dog tag and explained Mr. Grayson's wish. Thomas's face contorted with rage. "He left me to die in that jungle," He spat, recounting how Grayson had testified against him to save his own career, a lie that cost Thomas everything. Lena's heart sank. How could she bring peace to a man who hated the one who sent her? But as she listened, she saw the flicker of a man still yearning for closure, not vengeance. The twist came when Lena discovered a hidden letter in the metal box tucked beneath the photograph. It was from Mr. Grayson, written decades ago, confessing his guilt and begging forgiveness. He'd been too proud to send it, too afraid to face Thomas. Lena read it aloud, her voice breaking as Thomas's tears fell. The letter revealed a deeper truth. Grayson had tried to clear Thomas's name years later, but the records were lost in bureaucratic chaos. Armed with this, Lena confronted the Grayson family, demanding they use their influence to restore Thomas's honor. Victor laughed, but Margaret, sensing a scandal, relented under pressure with legal aid and a public campaign. Thomas's discharge was overturned, his name cleared on November 14, 2025, the day Lena stood beside him as a military honor guard saluted. The conclusion was a quiet triumph. Lena returned to the manor, now hers, but chose to transform it into a veteran's retreat, honoring Mr. Grayson's redemption and Thomas's resilience. The Grayson heirs, stripped of their inheritance, faded into obscurity, their arrogance undone. Thomas, restored, visited often, his laughter echoing where once there was silence. Lena, once underestimated, stood tall, her uniform replaced by a suit of her own making, a symbol of her journey from shadow to savior. The East Hill Oak witnessed it all, stood as a monument to a promise kept. Outro. What do you think? Could you have risen to such a challenge in Lena's shoes? Share your thoughts in the comments and let us know what redemption story you'd love to see next. If this cinematic journey inspired you, hit that like button, share it with a friend, and subscribe for more tales of justice and heroism. Ring the bell so you never miss a story. Your next adventure awaits.